Good morning, guys. Welcome to Tango's TikToks. Let's see what our TikToks have got for us today. 3,000 years ago, they were more intelligent than us. Okay, I'll bite. What is that? That just left me speechless. How did they do that? 3,000 years ago. How did they do that?
I decree.
So I've been thinking about Michael Jackson recently. Knowing what I know now about how Hollywood actors play multiple roles, I thought to myself, did Michael really transition from looking like that to looking like that? Or did they just have several different actors play the role of Michael? And well, I did some research. And well, if you're not familiar with my channel, what you need to know is that sometimes they tell us that these celebrities die, and they don't really die. They just become other celebrities, like Chris Cornell becoming Jonathan Rumi, and Prince becoming David Blaine, and Kurt Cobain becoming the Weezer star Rivers Cuomo, and Adam Driver and Keanu Reeves, and Jim Carrey and Keanu Reeves, and well, you know, the Prez over here, and the King, MAGA King, the King of rock and roll. Anyway, they do this. This is known. They do this. So then I brought my attention back here and I thought maybe that Michael isn't even the same as that Michael. And like I said, I did some research. And well, one thing you need to know is that faces aren't symmetrical this close, where everything lines up unless it's the same person. Case in point, Donny Boy here and RFK Jr. They don't line up at all. When you try to put the noses together, the lips don't line up, or when you try to put the eyes together, they're off significantly. But what I found with Michael, over and over again, even though the noses look different here, he always came back symmetrical. So symmetrical, in fact, that I personally couldn't deny that this Mikey was the same as this Mikey. So it just kind of confirmed that there was some serious craziness going on here, because yeah, well, he may have had some sort of skin disorder. There was also plastic surgery upon plastic surgery upon plastic surgery. And did you end up seeing who he ended up looking like? Have you ever seen how ridiculously similar he looks like to an ancient Egyptian artifact? Literally to the point where his face is symmetrical to the statue. And like I said, this doesn't happen this well unless the faces are a match. So I don't know what's going on here, but what I do know is that they've been removing statues' faces for a long time. Kind of like how they removed the original Statue of Liberty face to now look like this, probably so we didn't know that the original Statue of Liberty face looked exactly like a certain king of rock and roll that I already mentioned. Maybe these statues are tributes to the fallen angels that have been here for as long as the earth has been around. Because could you imagine seeing statues like the Statue of Liberty and all these other giant, ancient, old relics, and seeing how they were faces that matched celebrities and movie stars and politicians? Well, that might be a dead giveaway that these people have been around a lot longer than they would like us to know. But of course, this is all for entertainment purposes. I'm sure that the Statue of Liberty looking exactly like Elvis, and Elvis having a perfectly symmetrical face to you-know-who. Just a coincidence in all these other celebrities' faces who match up perfectly and If you've seen the videos I've done of these, share identical birthmarks, I'm sure just a coincidence too. And actors like Brad Pitt definitely don't play other actors like Benicio del Toro. That's crazy talk on a satire account, and like I said, all for entertainment. Oh yeah, and of course I couldn't forget, it was entertainment too that Michael looks exactly like a 4,000-year-old statue, even down to the nose manipulation. Coincidence for...
What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. There are some similarities, but I've never really looked into it. But seems interesting.
This is the moment Nicholas Prosper was arrested on his way to a primary school where he planned to kill 30 children. It came moments after he'd used a shotgun to kill his mother, Juliana Falcon, his brother, Kyle Prosper, and his sister, Giselle Prosper. The day before the murders, Prosper is seen buying a shotgun from a legal gun owner, using a fake firearm certificate and asking for extra cartridges. Prosper had a fascination with violence. Here he is pretending to fire shots in the kitchen of his family's flat in Luton. The flat would later become the scene of a triple murder. At 5 a.m. on Friday, the 13th of September, a neighbour heard the terrified screams of his family and called 999. Half an hour later, CCTV shows Prosper leaving the flat and walking along the street. 2 police officers spotted Prosper, and as they approached, they noticed blood on him. As he's arrested on suspicion of murdering his family, Prosper repeatedly says, "It's not murder." A loaded shotgun and ammunition were found in nearby bushes. Police say he wanted to be responsible for the most prolific school shooting in UK history. He had 33 shotgun cartridges, enough for 30 small children, 2 teachers, and then himself. In prison, he's revealed detailed plans and drawings for the school shooting and says he's angry that he never got to carry them out. This is the moment.
That is scary. That is scary. You just never know what anyone else is thinking.
Menu Gate, have you heard of that?
Menu Gate?
This is weird. This man, his name is Cody, lives in Atlanta. He walked out of his apartment and noticed every single door in his hallway had a Chinese menu. 3 days later, still there. And he's like, what in the world? 3 days, everyone in my hall has not opened their door? And then 5 days, still there. So he went down to the parking garage and looked at the cars, covered in dust. And he's like, that's weird. And then he's like, okay, this is like freaking me out a little bit. Went through his whole apartment building, couldn't find a fire alarm. Finally, went down one weird hallway or whatever, found one. He's like, I need to know. Pulls it. There's supposed to be 800 people living in this apartment building. No one came out.
Because he had previously checked, he'd gone outside at night and there were lights on.
Yeah, he went out into his local nook where his apartment was. Every coffee shop and place that he went to, there was always one man in there wearing a suit talking on the phone. He said these men were all saying the same thing into the phone. And he's just like, am I living in a simulation? What is this? As far as I got. The menu.
That would drive me crazy. But then again, I'm so wrapped up in my own bloody life that I don't notice anything going on.
Αδιανόητο ιατρικό λάθος.
Bro, this is the biggest unsolved mystery in music history. 4 world-famous artists, 4 deaths under troubling circumstances. Tim Bergling, Chester Bennington, Anthony Bourdain, Chris Cornell, they were all closely connected, and almost all of them died mysteriously within the same year. But there's something even crazier. All 4 were secretly working on a documentary called Silent Children. In one of my last videos, I told you about the dark story behind DJ Avicii and the many warnings he tried to give about child trafficking, but no one listened. And Avicii wasn't the only one. 3 other artists also tried to expose what they knew and what they had seen. Strangely, right after announcing they were working on Silent Children, they all disappeared within roughly the same time frame. Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell died in 2017, Avicii and Anthony Bourdain in 2018. It's as if someone made sure they were silenced before they could reveal the truth. The Silent Children documentary was eventually released in 2020, 2 years after their deaths. If you think about it for just 10 seconds, you'll realize that the film was likely edited for 2 years before its release to remove the most sensitive information. Yeah, this is the truth and nobody talks about it. Bro, this is the big...
Hey friends, breaking news at the Pyramid of Giza. You are not going to believe what they found, not only inside the Great Pyramids, but underneath the Great Pyramids. This discovery is going to change everything that we know about, well, everything. Check this out, guys. So in 2022, they used this new type of technology. It's called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography, and it's something that they can use to look inside of things. And they use this kind of radar to make this like 3D model of the interior of things, and they can see stuff with this technology that you can't see any other way. And when they did this, they found some remarkable things that they didn't expect to find inside the pyramid. Like these 5 new chambers that they didn't know existed before, and this unique sloping roof that they can't really explain. But when they redid this experiment a couple years later, that's when things got real crazy. So this is the pyramid, and this is underground. They found 8 of these gigantic columns that go down over a mile, guys, down into the ground. And you see these things that are wrapped around them? They think that these are actually staircases, pathways that go down, but they also act as like a coil that you would find on some sort of like an electromagnetic battery or something like that. And these things go down over a mile into the ground, and you're never going to believe what they go into. All 8 of them feed into these 2 gigantic cubes. These cubes are hundreds of feet wide and tall. Now, this is super significant because in the Emerald Tablets and all sorts of other ancient texts and books and things like that, they have talked about things underneath the Great Pyramid, like the Halls of Amenti and these secret libraries of Atlantis and things like that. And now we're finding these gigantic columns that go down over a mile from the base of the pyramid into these gigantic cube rooms. So the official findings just came out a few days ago, and they say near the base of the pyramid, 5 identical structures are seen connected by geometric pathways. Inside each of these are 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof. This is what's above. This is what's actually inside the pyramid. Below these 5 structures are 8 cylindrical structures which appear to be vertical wells, hollow inside and surrounded by descending spiral pathways. These 8 vertically aligned cylindrical structures arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south descend to a depth of 648 meters. That is so far down, where they all merge into 2 large cubic structures measuring approximately 80 meters per side. The entire structure extends approximately 2 kilometers beneath the surface. That's 1.2 miles. And extends beneath all 3 pyramids of the Giza Plateau complex. Holy cow, guys. So not only did they find 5 new structures inside the Great Pyramid that have never been discovered and explored before, but underneath the pyramid, going down over a mile, are 8 gigantic tubes surrounded by spiral staircases that feed into these 2 huge boxes. Now, what could these things do? Well, the paper goes on to hypothesize. The massive underground structure revealed by the recent SAR data shows what appear to be a mechanical or functional system, and this has been hypothesized in the past. Nikola Tesla believed that the pyramids could harness Earth's natural frequencies. This arguably inspired his experiments in wireless energy transmission scalar waves. In the Giza power plant, Christopher Dunn, this is a book, argued that the Great Pyramid was a power-generating machine using resonant and acoustic forces to convert mechanical stress into electricity. In the Giza Death Star, another book, Joseph Farrell proposed that the Great Pyramid of Giza was a weapon of mass destruction using a type of physics that he calls paleophysics to focus energy as a scalar weapon. Death Star? Now, I don't know what they're for, but all I know is with the whole Chris Bledsoe coming up Easter thing of next year, and the gaze of the Red Star Regulus and the Sphinx and the opening of the Atlantis, library and all these things that have been prophesized, and now we're finding this. Ooh, all I know is keep your eyes on these pyramids, baby, because
I had that thought. I thought that it was some sort of weapon. I didn't think, I don't know, I don't know, that's what I thought. I always thought that. How weird. And there's pyramids all over the world, so.
A year ago, when I said that I would stake my entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man, there were many people, of course, who did not believe me because that just sounds crazy.
Holy mother of Jesus, she's a man.
But even those people, thanks to Emmanuel Macron's strongly worded letter, which he had his legal team put together and ask me not to publicize, are now starting to pay a little bit of attention. Take this comment from popular Canadian YouTuber and lawyer who goes by Viva Frey. He wrote this under the episode regarding that letter. I was very skeptical at first that Brigitte was a man, but I've got to tell you, Macron's lawyers are really starting to convince me. Legally speaking, it was an implausibly stupid move what they did, okay? While refusing to just plainly state that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was indeed born a woman. I'm a female. They used all sorts of tricky language to suggest that they could sue me for defamation over minor errors that I made in my reporting. Okay, essentially, they were not addressing the substance of the claim. Brigitte Macron was born a biological male, but instead attacking things like, you said in an earlier report that a picture from Brigitte's communion was recolorized. This is false. This reporting has caused Brigitte to have mental anguish. Okay. But as I said, their lawyers made a critical mistake because in order to prove defamation, you have to prove that somebody acted in reckless disregard for the truth, that they knew the truth and they made a decision not to publicize it. Instead, they wanted to just publicize lies, which is something that if you guys watch this show, you know that I do not do. I do not engage in it. Quite the opposite. So by sending me a legal letter, they unintentionally provided me with a direct line, a direct link to ask Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron pointed questions. They can't pretend they didn't see our questions. Okay. The majority of the questions that we asked them were simply yes or no. Those were the answers that we needed, with the promise that we gave them that if she answered the questions, we would fully report on the facts. So I want to show you some of these very simple 21 questions that we asked Brigitte Macron so that we can use our platform to put an end to her mental anguish, okay? Like I said, these are pretty simple questions. If you are a person and you are going through mental anguish because people are talking about you being born a biological male, wouldn't you race to answer those questions?
I am a victim of a hate crime.
Yeah. Well, apparently they simply were not anguished enough to hire. They were anguished enough to hire and pay an American legal firm in DC to send us a 100-page lettered threat, but they simply were not anguished enough or could not muster the energy to answer 21 basic questions to put an end to the scandal. We received no response from them because we knew that we would not receive a response for them because, well, they're lying. They are, in fact, lying to the public about Brigitte Macron's past identity. A year ago...
I like Candace Owens, and that is hilarious. That just cracked me up. Yes, she does look like a man. And we all know some certain Michael that looks like a man as well.
No, you kick me out, bro.
Okay. How? He can't sit in the dentist's office, so that's why I'm saying.
Deep breath.
Listen carefully. Don't make this. This is tough.
She'll be out there.
She is going for it. She's not going to. So stop. Listen to me. What's your Ava? Stop struggling, okay? They're not going to hurt you. Yeah, they're not going to hurt you. Listen carefully what's going to happen here. No one's going to hurt you. You're going to sit in the car for now, okay? If you go somewhere, what it's going to involve is taking pictures, taking fingerprints, and then they're going to call your parents to come and get you. So don't make the situation any worse. They'll be up shortly after that.
Go in the car?
No, you can't go in the car.
It's a tough move.
It just can't happen.
I'm telling you this right now. You're going to take this as a lesson at 11 years old. That if you do something stupid in the future, you're going to enjoy those cuffs.
I'm not going to do this again.
Ava is placed into the back of the police car where her father delivers a few hard truths.
I'm just warning you, you're not going to sit for a couple hours. They're going to be bringing you into a building, fingerprinting you, doing all sorts of stupid for your stupid. Your life just changed, kid. Over a phone call, your life just changed.
Minutes later, the reality of the situation continues to have an emotional impact on her parents.
That's punishment for her right now. So this is the best thing for her because she's dancing on it.
It's up for us. I work my off with you to keep this kid doing stuff normal like we did as kids, and this is the she does.
Yeah, and the parents just blame each other. Well, she had to learn a lesson, I guess, but I don't know what the prank was.
You're going to be my husband.
Oh my God.
Have you guys seen the videos about the JFK files? Holy shit. Look guys, conspiracy theory is now conspiracy fact. We knew that there was some involvement with the CIA, but we didn't know that they were completely involved, that they were directly involved.
Of course they
with
were.
the unaliving of President John F. Kennedy. And it just gets deeper and deeper. There's a lot of big names mentioned in all this. And let's face it, our former president was named under there. He knew things. Oh, Biden himself, God. Apparently, one of the agents, Underhill, the day after the unaliving, he took off to his family's and was fearful for his own life because of what he knew. The very next day, he was found in a hotel room, and it was ruled an apparent self-unaliving by the coroner. Kids, this is getting deep.
I always thought, I'd never believed the original version of what they told us. Never, never, never. It always looked suspicious. Always did. But it does say in the Bible, in Greek, it's called the Apocalypse, which is, in English, translates to the apocalypse. If you do a straight translation, though, from Greek to English, it means something's going to be revealed. Are we in the apocalypse right now? Yes. Everything is being revealed now. Now we are seeing who the true rulers of this world are. And there's a whole lot more to come out. A whole lot more to come out.
Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Hi, baby.
You like them?
Good. Oh, lovely God.
Oh, look at those tails.
You sharing with the baby goat? Yeah. He's watching. Hi, baby.
Anyway, guys, this was Lawrence from Tango's TikToks. I hope you loved this episode, because I really enjoyed this one today. Please leave a comment and like this episode. Share it. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe. Let's see what you think of this sort of new format. We've added some laughs. We've added some really mysterious stuff in here. Some conspiracies. I think I'm enjoying this a whole lot more. Let's go through this. Let's do a couple of episodes like this and see what it's like. Anyway, this is Lawrence from Tango's TikToks. Have an amazing day. Bye.